Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome to our 27th day of our month of mods, and we're on the home stretch now with only a couple more to go. And to match our Empire mod, I figured we needed a Napoleon mod, so I did some searching. And there were some mods that I really wanted to try, but didn't seem to work out for me. I tried several different Napoleon mods, and then I decided on the one that I felt was probably the best, which is a mod called Montee De L'empire. Hey, how was that? Could you guys tell I'm Canadian and took the meagerest amount of French courses? Anyway, it means the rise of the empire, in French. Anyway, I consider Montee De L'empire to be the Roma Surrectum, or stainless steel equivalent for Napoleon Total War, because it tries to make the game more historically accurate by adding in things like more units, more campaigns, and so on and so forth. But let's start off with the more campaigns, because that to me is the coolest part of Montee De L'empire. Because now you have 7 different campaigns, each with a different historical starting point and different factions. And of course, all factions are now playable. So, the rundown is, we have a 1792 campaign, a 1796 campaign, an 1805 campaign, an 1807 campaign, an 1812 campaign, an 1813 campaign, and an 1815 campaign, giving you the choice of when in Napoleon's career you want to start. What is also cool is, say you start off as France in the 1812 campaign, you've already got a couple of armies ready to march on Moscow, meaning you've got a greater ability to recreate these great historical events. But what I think is even cooler is the fact that you can start before Napoleon, after the French Revolution, and sort of during the First and Second Wars of the Coalition. And the reason why I think this is so cool is because I feel this is a really underrepresented period of history, especially when you consider the extreme impact that this period would have not just on governmental structures, but also military structures. Because as far as I can tell, these revolutionary wars were the first time that mass conscription was really successfully implemented, because France was fighting a variety of major military powers at this time, and these were elite armies. However, they were small armies, because these European monarchies had a tendency not to want to arm their population en masse. However, revolutionary France didn't have that worry. So, they instituted mass conscription and were able to virtually swarm over these elite European armies and throw them out of French territory, marking the transition from the smaller elite armies which really dominated military history up to this point, to the mass conscripted armies that would fight the battles of the future. And I had a lot of fun playing as France in this mod during this key historical period and trying to throw back these European powers. Jesus Christ, I'm such a nerd. Anyway, when we get down to the battles and nations themselves, it's very clear that France has had the most input, having a vastly expanded array of new units with, of course, new skins. Everything from new powerful elite units to hordes of revolutionary soldiers. But the other countries have also received some new units and some new skins, just not to the extent that France has. As well, like I said, all the factions are now playable, and some of these smaller factions have also received some work, giving them their own distinct unit types. So, as a result, you have much more diversity than in the vanilla version of Napoleon Total War. Anyway, when you start fighting battles with these new units, you'll also notice a couple changes. First off is that there are a couple sub-mods that you can choose to turn on before you start Montee De L'empire. These mods do things like change the unit sizes and add in better smoke and sound effects. As well, there have been changes to the battle engine. For example, muskets are much less deadly at far range, but as you get closer, they become much more deadly. As well, it takes less to make units rout, but more to make them break. So you'll break units quickly, but if you don't follow up, they'll regroup and fight back. So, this creates kind of a staggered movement to battles, where you'll break their first line, but then those units will regroup and try and hold you back as you continually advance and break them and advance and break them until a point where either they're able to push you back or you're able to push them off the map once and for all. Anyway, there are a ton of little things added into this mod. It's a pretty sizable download. Also, it's a little tricky to install, so be careful. But in this video, I didn't get to cover everything. However, I covered the bulk of the mod. And if you wanted to relive Napoleon's glory like you never have before, then I definitely recommend you check out Montee De L'empire. And until next time, this has been Joseph Vizaranovic Stalin saying, I hope you enjoyed this video, and join us again tomorrow for another fantastic mod. And until then, you guys take care.